That's bad. It looked like a smushed grape. I'm serious, that's what his finger looked like. But my mind started thinking, my mind that's focused on the wrong things, and I thought, okay, if I take him to the doctor, it's going to take 2.5 hours off of our, whatever we paid for those tickets. 2.5 hours I'm going to be at the doctor. They're going to give him some aspirin and put a popsicle stick on his finger and tell us, we'll see how it goes. So I came up with another plan. I said, Michael, and I had to shake him, Michael, what if we go inside and we go to the first souvenir shop and you can have whatever you want? I knew it was going to be cheaper than going to the doctor, and it was going to take less time. And he could barely talk, and he's like, anything. And I said, yeah, anything. So he picked a cap. I think he picked a cap. You know, nothing big. But this is the funny part of the story. Somebody was walking behind us as we're negotiating, and they were mad. Ooh-wee. It was Sonia. She was back there. She was mad. He gets everything. So I think she matched me for focusing on the wrong things. But anyway, I just had to tell that story. I just sent my son a text. He brought me this jacket back from Washington, D.C., from the White House. And so I thought I'd wear it. I told him I was going to be up here speaking. So hopefully he's watching. Anyway, we need to, every time I get to speak, I always wonder, why are people here? You know, so why are you here? I want you to ask yourself that question. You know, are you here because you want to get closer to God, and hopefully you hear something tonight that will inspire you to have a walk that's closer to God? Or maybe you're here because you know you've fallen away from Him and you want to redirect your walk to get back on the plan that He has for you. Maybe you've totally lost your salvation. Where are those fans blowing from? I'm going to turn them off because I don't need any fan. Okay. Or maybe you've come tonight because you're trying to get somebody off of your back. Somebody that's been bugging you, telling you, hey, you need to go to church. And so you came to be able to say, I went to church. But it doesn't matter, because God can use anything for His good. He can use anything that you do for His good, as long as you open your ears up and listen and hope that you might hear something that will help you change your life. Amen? So I'm making some assumptions. I'm assuming that everybody would like to do better than they're doing right now. And I assume that because I don't know if we have any, but I don't see any CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies. And I think that God could use you to do that. Not that the money is so important, but He could have you at that level if you would allow Him to, if you would do what you know He has for you to do. He has a plan for your life. And if you're like me, there are things that you do that you know are not part of the plan that He has for your life. And so that's what I'm hoping, is that God would use me to give you so much more than you expected when you came here tonight. That He would touch you and move you to take action on some of those things that you've gone to Him time and time again, and you've asked Him for, and He's answered you, but somehow you haven't put those actions into your life. You haven't applied them to your life, even though they're from God. And believe me, I know, because I do it. I'll ask God for something, He'll answer me, and then I don't do it. You know, that anytime God gives you a plan, the first thing we do is we think, how can it go wrong? How can this go wrong? What can be the consequences, bad consequences of this plan that God has given me? Let me tell you something. God knows that there may be some bad consequences. Such as the time that he chose Mary to be Jesus' mom. At the time that he chose Mary, he knew that she was going to have to see him get crucified on the cross. He knew that. Does that mean he has no sympathy? He has no empathy? I don't think so. Because he knew that she'd be able to bear it. And that's one of the things we need to remember. God has equipped us to fulfill the plan that he gives to us. No matter what we think, he has equipped us to fulfill that plan. Before Moses went and spoke to the Pharaoh, he tried to convince God that he wasn't capable of speaking to the Pharaoh. He said, use somebody else. You hear how I talk, I stutter. I can't do it. Do you think that God didn't know that he stuttered? He knew that. He chose Moses for a reason. So when we are given the plan, when we are seeking God for a solution, no matter what the problem is, and he gives you the answer, don't try to outthink him. Do it.